Okay, not to be spicy today, but we have opinions on pricing and people are in our DMs about pricing. So we wanted to talk to you about pricing today.
Let's get spicy on the pricey.
You would totally start this episode with a pun. All right, let's dive in. So pricing, there is so much controversial. Is that the word I'm looking for? Controversy. Thank you.
Controversy. Okay, I'm done.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
But when it comes to pricing, I know that we have talked about this and we have personally felt this and about all the pressure there is to be a certain level of pricing. And if you're not at that pricing, you're not good enough. You're not professional enough. You're not luxury enough.
You need to raise your prices X amount of times throughout X amount of years because otherwise you're bringing down the industry standard.
Ooh. Yeah, that's the one we've been talking about recently. And like how at the end of we were having this conversation where like at the end of the day, if our bills are paid, if our goals are funded, if our sinking funds are funded and we are happy, we're healthy, our families are happy and healthy, and we're doing work that makes sense to us, why does it
to our clients
and to our client? Why does it matter what we're charging?
It doesn't.
Because it's our business and we can charge what we need to charge. It's your business. You can charge what you need to charge. As long as your bills are paid and your family and you are happy and healthy and doing work that lights up your soul, that's all that matters.
Okay. I feel like this is going to be our most spicy episode and I'm here for it because we both have so many emotions behind this topic and so many different things to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is location, like location market-based pricing. Mm-hmm. I cannot stress enough that when you are comparing yourself to other photographers and you're like, I'm going to be that someday, like there's nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong with charging what you want to charge. Absolutely. We're not saying that at all. However, there are different markets and different locations. So Jamie and I both live in Iowa. Okay. We've done our research. We have experience. We've done the things. People in Iowa simply just can't be charging as much as somebody in San Francisco, California.
Well, it's the cost of living. To buy a house in Iowa, I think right now the average is $200,000 to $400,000. To buy a house in California, I want to say the average first-time house in California is at least $750,000, right?
I have no idea. I can look that up.
Okay, but the amount of houses, like if we're talking house prices, cost of living, Iowa's minimum wage, don't hold on to your seats for this, y'all, is still $725.
It is. It just costs so much less to live here. And also because of that, there aren't people walking around paying. And I'm not saying never.
It happens. I have charged packages and I have delivered the services. I have higher end prices that I have successfully charged. We're just saying.
But it's not the market norm. No. Like you're not going to I'm not going to sit here and be charging $15,000 for weddings in Iowa that are in Iowa and have inquiries flying in. It just is not going to happen here. And that's okay. And so I think being stuck in looking at other states and what they're charging and other photographers and what they're charging in all these different areas and thinking, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to charge that. Again, great if you have like goals and you want to be shooting out and into those markets, but you have to do your market research on what is actually realistic and where those people live, where you live. Like that all does factor in.
And you also have to hustle and like
yes.
you have to be in that market. You have to be marketing the correct way to those people. You can't just put a price on your website and be like, I charge $20,000. I live here. And that's it. You have to right. to do the homework.
I'm really annoyed right now with the whole, well, I'm just manifesting it. Like if I put it out there, it's going to happen. It's like, well, we have to have some accountability and some research to back that up. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, reaching goals is great, but you can't just throw these numbers out and they're going to stick. It's just not going to happen. I could charge more to travel somewhere else mm-hmm. and I would probably book way more there because that's the normal there. Here, that's not the normal. But at the same time, if then if I'm charging less while living here, that doesn't make me any less experienced. Doesn't make my experience not as good as somebody else who charges more. It just is a different business, it's a different market.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I live here and my business is mostly destination. And I have charged higher packages for those destinations, which that's what I needed to charge to turn a profit. But it's different. It's different in every sort of business model. It's different in different locations. It's different with the clients you're trying to serve. If you're trying to, I think there's actual terms for it too, where you have the DIY, you have the budget, you have I think the next tier is Lovely. Lovely is like 8 to 10. And then you have like your intro to luxury, which is 10 to 15. And then you have
like the
luxury. Yeah, mid-luxury, I think it's 15 to 20. And ultra luxury, I think, don't quote me on the names of these, but there is like tiers. And especially planners will use these a lot too. And if you connect with planners more, that's definitely going to help with marketing to understand what type of client you're looking to buy into and what type of client you want to invest into you. I just think my thoughts on pricing.
We can't even get our words out right now.
We can't, because it's been so frustrating of a conversation lately, because in a way I've felt that a lot of photographers that have asked us this question are made to feel less than because they're charging $5,000, but they're happy and their clients are happy and their bills are paid. So I'm like, well, why do you feel like you're less than? And it's because there's so much marketing and courses out there that are like, you need to be charging $10,000 per wedding.
How I made $6,000 in a month.
Right. Or I need to have $10,000 months, $15,000 months. Says who?
Right. Or you'll post something about like, oh, I'm so excited I booked like $10,000 worth of work in the last couple months. And people are like, that's not even ramen. Like, I can't even eat ramen on that.
And
like,
I'm not saying like these aren't goals to aspire to. If that's the goal you want to aspire to, do it. Go after it. Chase it. I'm just saying, I feel like there's a lot of marketing out there that makes photographers feel bad about themselves because they don't need a $20,000 wedding.
A lot of that too comes down to personal needs and expenses. I for one have a mortgage. I have no other debt. My cost of living is extremely low compared to a lot of people. Therefore, I don't need to be booking 15, 20, whatever K weddings. And that's a choice.
And do
it's
you
okay.
feel left out because you're not booking a certain wedding? Do you feel like you don't like your clients?
No.
Do you feel like you're not doing work that doesn't light up your soul?
Love my clients. And it's just wild because I feel like we're made to feel like we shouldn't.
Right.
Like
if you're not at a certain price point, then those people don't matter.
It just seems like, oh, well, if you're in like the lower markets, like have fun.
Well, and I feel like there is a photographer and there is a budget for everyone. Am I in the beginner market still? The like 1 to 2,500, 1 to like below, like am I below 5K? No, because I have enough experience and expenses that I need to be above 5K, but I'm not going to shit on the photographer that charges that because they are learning their experiences. They're learning their business. They're learning the type of client they want to serve. We all start somewhere. And I think there's so much marketing out there right now around pricing for photographers that is just making a lot of photographers feel like crap.
Right. Well, and we all have to start somewhere too. We can't just, I know when I was starting, I felt so conflicted because it was like, okay, well, getting told you're ruining the industry by like saturating
That's
it
a
and
lot
charging
when you're a new photographer.
Like you're not charging enough and now it's messing everything up, which for one, that's a lot to put on someone. Like I singularly was not doing anything. Okay. And secondly, well, what am I supposed to do? Start and charge 10K? Like you can't, like there is a middle ground there. Like,
and say you've never worked a wedding before and then your client is like, I just paid you $10,000. What do you mean you don't know how to run my wedding day?
Exactly.
What do you mean you don't know how to pose family photos or double check that my necklace isn't turned towards the clasp or make sure that my dress isn't crinkled at my ankle?
Exactly. I feel like I just feel like it's okay to feel good about where you're at when you're even charging less than 5K. Like, it's okay. Like, as long as you don't feel burnt out, you're happy and your business is running effectively and you're turning a profit and you can pay your bills. Who cares what anyone else thinks?
That matters. And I think because we're human, we compare, and like our comparison episode, compare. And you're like, well, my work's better than theirs, but it's not as good as theirs. And they're cooler than me. They post better things on social media. They're traveling more. They're way more experienced. I can never charge that much. And we just get in our own head about why we can't charge what we want to charge, why we can't charge what we need to be charging. We are a business. Yes, we're artists, we're photographers, but you are still a business. And there's just a certain level you need to charge to keep the lights on.
And some people's capabilities are different. Like when my kids were a lot younger, I couldn't take as many weddings as I could now. And so, yeah, there are times where it's like, no, like I can't physically be at more places, but I need my bills paid. And then there are times where it's like, oh no, I can hustle this year. Like my kids are older. I can go and do these things. I can go and do these experiences. And it just is so personalized. What the heck? It's just so personalized to you, your business expenses, your area, your market. Like, so it just, Jamie and I literally will message each other and just be like, I get so upset when we see other photographers tearing other ones down for pricing or giving advice that makes somebody feel bad about what they're charging. It just.
So why don't we pivot for a hot second? Now that we have told you don't need to feel bad for your pricing, how do you figure out your pricing? Cost of doing business calculators. I actually created one for
we have one.
I created, honestly, I would just give it to you. If you message me and ask for it, I would just give it to you. Mention the podcast episode though. No, I'm just kidding. But like cost of doing business calculator, write down all of your monthly expenses, your bills, groceries, rent, mortgage, insurance, sinking funds, credit cards, debt, all of that you have to pay every single month. But also I want to encourage you to write down childcare per job, not just your typical monthly Monday through Friday childcare, but if you need childcare on a Saturday, how much does that cost you? How much does it cost you to leave your children with a babysitter to go to a session? How much does your client closet cost you? Whew, say that. Like all of these things add up. So let's see how much it adds up to. And then you have your base costs. Like, okay, it cost me $5,000 a month to live, to feed my children, to keep my husband happy. I don't know. Oh, that could go either way. But like, let's say it costs $5,000. So say you're mentally only capable to take 2 weddings a month because as moms, we know we get exhausted. So you have to charge at least $5,000. So you could charge 2 $2,500 weddings and break even, or you could charge $5,000 per wedding. And then you have your bills paid, but then you're profiting $5,000. Like, granted, these are all hypothetical numbers, but you're starting to see like, what does it cost to live? What can I still turn a profit, and then take that profit and invest it back into my business, invest it back into my family, put it in a savings account to invest it later on. There's so many different. Set money
aside for gear,
yes,
or set money aside for a vacation,
which I have that in the calculator.
Yeah, it is in there.
But there's just, for trying to figure out what you need to charge, it's going to look different for your business than it does for my business, because I don't know your expenses. But if you want help breaking it down, you can always just ask us.
Or join the Mom Talk Mastermind.
Shameless plug. But this is the very basics of pricing, is just figuring out what you need. Just like if you were going to a 9-to-5 and you were interviewing for a 9-to-5, you most likely wouldn't accept a job for $4.35 an hour. Shout out to my servers. But like you need something that you know is worth your time to go to that job where you know you can give your best at, because you want to feel good at the jobs you're accepting, and you want to feel excited because you work better when you're happy. You're a better mom when you're happy. So let's not burn ourselves out taking on too many jobs at a price point that you wouldn't even be able to break even at.
I also want to dive into the myth of charging less means you get crappier clients.
Ooh.
Because
Spicy.
okay, there are some times where maybe we don't know a client as well as we thought, like on a consult call, like situations happen. But even when I was charging less, I think it more so has to do with branding, how you put yourself out there and how you do a consult call and talk with your clients, the communication, far more than it has anything to do with what you're charging.
I think the baseline of that people aren't saying is they are judging people for spending less money, and they just don't want to say it. Like they want to make it sound
they
prettier.
don't care. So,
but like, I think at the end of the day, some people are legit judging certain people for their budgets. And I don't think that's fair.
When some people genuinely like just, that's their budget.
Yeah, that's just their budget. Like that doesn't mean they're a horrible person. That's just their budget. And people will budget or not budget. People value things differently. Yes. So someone who doesn't value photography the way that you do, they might not invest a certain amount of money because that's their budget, because that's their dollar amount of value they have attached to this session or this wedding.
Well, most of the time we aren't even our own ideal client.
True.
So
very true.
When you look at something and think like, wow, they wouldn't do this or this or that, would you?
I
like
am my ideal client, so I don't know.
But with everything, when it comes to like makeup, even like you could do this with anything. You could literally do this with anything. If you really look at it and you're like, oh, I really love this person who does all this like fitness stuff. I want to get into health. And then you find out that they invest XYZ
Lululemon
into their outfits, into the collagen powder, into like all of this stuff. And then you're like, oh, I actually just don't have the budget for that. And it's like, oh, well, because you're a crappy human. No, because my budget and my lifestyle, my priorities are just different.
Right. Honestly, it comes down to priorities and what someone will value, what someone prioritizes.
And it doesn't mean that because you're charging less and because they have less to invest in you, that they don't care. It's just that priorities can be different. And also, I have had so many clients that have had this, like, they're trying to make it on their own, and like one of them maybe lost their job, and then they wanted to buy a house, and it's a fixer-upper, and they care so much about their experience, about their images, but their budget's not there because of the season of life they're in.
That makes me think of such a bro line right now. This is spicy. And the bros would respond with, well, you need to sell them right then and there on the call. And if they truly valued it, they would invest. And you're just not good at selling. And I just think that's all BS.
I hate that.
And it makes me just
It makes it feel like a
mad.
game, like a psychological game.
And it's like, okay, I don't care about being a millionaire. I care about my clients. I care about their experience. I care about their story. And I care about my family and making sure that my family is taken care of. And the way that I can take care of my family and I can take care of my clients, I need to charge this amount. Will that make me a millionaire? No. Do I care about that? No, I don't prioritize making the most money as a photographer ever in the whole wide world. Sarcasm. But seriously, I don't care about that. And I feel like too many photographers are trying to put out the narrative that you have to care about that. And why? As mom photographers, we all know we want the laundry done, the dishes done, the kids fed and clean, and the editing taken care of while we're watching a show.
I think a lot of the time too is the flip side of that scrolling and seeing, oh, make 6 figures in a month or sell every single client you talk to, like all of these things being thrown at us. It's like most of the time you don't need that stuff.
And most of the time you don't need to book every single client that inquires.
No, you don't want to. I don't sometimes
want to.
It's not a good fit.
Right.
Like that's what having consult calls and talking with people is for. It just gets so frustrating when
I have a slight pivot too. Like there's the question of, does pricing anchor you in a certain way where you're pre-qualifying people? Yes, it does. Because it's going to filter out the people that don't prioritize that dollar amount with the experience. And that's a good thing. Like, that's not a bad thing. That just means like they're not your client. They're for somebody else. And then they'll make that person happy because they would have never made you happy.
Well, and at the end of the day, everybody's acting like we're all out here like trying to climb to the top and beat everybody and book all the clients. How many clients do you actually need in a year? You know what I mean? For some people, it's 10. Some people can do 30. Like, you don't need hundreds and hundreds you don't always need to climb to the top and do all these things. Like, you sometimes only need to talk to 10 or 30 people. Like, you need to match with 10 or 30 people. You know how many people get married in a year? A lot more than that.
I was going to say, I think they always say it's like 2 million or something couples get married every year worldwide or something like that.
It's an insane amount. Like, when you kind of sit back and think at the end of the day, oh, I actually only need 15 clients.
So let's hone in on your marketing. Let's hone in on why your pricing is your pricing and not looking at everyone else's pricing. And like, let's look at the market. Let's see what is acceptable in the location, in the area. But at the end of the day, what do you need to be a successful business, to be a successful mom, to be happy? Like, you probably don't need 100 mini sessions and 100 weddings. Like, I'm just using random numbers. Because like, I would lose my shit if I had to book more than a certain amount of weddings.
Your experience and value and what you bring to the table and how successful you are has nothing to do with what you're charging.
Like, the reason you're charging what you're charging is because you're a business and you're trying to make money. That's the bottom line. Like, one sentence, you're charging what you're charging because that's what you need as a dollar amount.
But Jamie, this one email changed my life forever, and I booked 6 figures in 3 months.
Okay.
That didn't actually happen.
If that's a goal to make 6 figures a year, which for a lot of people, 6 figures.
Also, why?
Like, for a lot of people, the cost of living, they need to make 6 figures. So that makes sense to me.
Right. But for some reason, I feel like it's this thing across the industry where it's like, that's the thing. It's just everything. 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 figures.
I think it's because for so long, the message was you're a starving artist. So, and because that's like the industry I grew up in, was starving artist. You're only going to make, like, when I was in college.
You're not that much older than me. You're making it sound like you grew up in the Great Depression.
I did grow up in the Great Depression. But like, when I was in college, like, photography wise, the statistic was that photographers made $20,000 to $40,000 a year. And that was it. And like, everyone I told in high school was, every teacher was like, you're not going to make any money. So like, I think I understand it from a point of, when I was growing up, everyone was like, photographers don't make money, starving artists. So now I feel like we've overcompensated with the 6-figure thing because of that. And like, people, but like with social media and content creation and a lot more people being transparent, it's really not that hard to make 6 figures. If you know what to charge for weddings, if you know what to charge for sessions, if you're organized in your business and you have everything set up, like, it's pretty easy.
Can we talk about the fact that the people that are saying how I made 6 figures, or I like the photographers that you see that make multiple 6 figures or whatever, they're not making that from weddings. Like, they're selling you a course, or they're educating. Yeah. So it's not, which, yes, we like educate.
We started
too.
the Mom Talk Mastermind.
Yes, we understand that. But I just don't want this narrative to be sold that it's like, oh, I made multiple 6 figures from changing this one thing. And you think that you're going to be like, oh, well, they're going to teach me how to make multiple 6 figures by booking 10 weddings at however much, you know, it's like, they're also doing other things that are getting them to that point too. So when you see other photographers that are super successful to whatever that standard is, they are also coaching, or they're also selling digital products,
which is not a bad thing.
None of these things are bad.
I just want to be transparent.
There's so much more to the picture.
Yeah.
It's not just couples they're booking. They have different income streams. They have passive income. They have multiple revenue streams. And it's just this,
There's also the spicy hot take of associate teams. And
yes,
I know I have very strong opinions on associates. I love associate shooting. I think it's fun because then I don't have to edit and I just get to do the fun part. Like I get to go to the wedding, I get to hang out with the clients. But
I have seen associate teams done well, and I have seen associate teams not done well.
I get so upset when I see a bride post on the Facebook groups and they're just like, this happened. I hired this company I didn't know. And like as photographers, we know it was a scam. We know those companies are awful people.
I literally got a message a few months ago. I'm pretty sure I screenshot it and sent it to you because I was so mad. And I wanted to find the couple and tell them, but I also didn't want to like ruin anything right before their wedding. You know what I mean? I don't know. And it was a company, a photography company that contracted different photographers in different states. And they were looking for somebody to shoot a wedding that was it was like that week or 2 weeks away. They had still not found a photographer to cover it.
But the couple didn't even know.
And the couple didn't know. And they were reaching out to me and I'm like, I'm booked, girly pop. I'm like, I'm not like, what? I was so taken aback because I'm like that. It just makes my heart like sink when I'm thinking about all these couples that are taken advantage of from situations like that. And I'm not saying that's every team or anything at all, but that is just wild to me.
I just get frustrated when I see someone in the industry that is clearly their goal is to be a millionaire, for lack of better words, numbers, and not to take care of people. And I understand everyone has different prerogatives. Everyone's a different person. It just grinds my gear personally. Like that's my pet peeve. That's my spicy hot take. I feel like if you are in the wedding industry, if you are in the business of giving someone memories, you should care about them.
Yeah. You should care about who you're serving and they're not just numbers. They're not just a date on the calendar.
And maybe that's why we feel the way we feel about pricing is because we are very much people first, numbers second, even though we all joke that I'm the numbers girly in this duo. But like, I very much, we both lead with serving. Like we want to serve people. We want to help them. We want to help you. That's why we started the podcast. And I feel like a lot more people probably have this opinion on pricing and it just needed to be said. It needed to be put out there, a different perspective that you can charge what you need to charge. You don't have to listen to all the advice out there. You don't even have to listen to this episode. You might even disagree with us and think I need to charge a certain whatever. So, cause it makes me have a better status quo. And that's fine. This is just what we were thinking about pricing because I feel like no one has this side of the conversation, this side of the coin.
I feel like because I feel like there are so many people out there that you would say like, oh, I charge this and these are my expenses. And so this is where I'm at. And it's like, oh, raise it then.
Well, and we have talked to our Mom Tog Mastermind students. And when they first joined, I wasn't looking at their pricing as, because their work is all beautiful. I wasn't looking at their pricing as your work's beautiful. You need to charge more, charge your worth. I was looking at their pricing as a, hey, are you sure you're profiting? Because your expenses you said are this, but your packages are only this. And you said you only wanted to book, say 10 packages at this price point, but that would leave you negative. And then they were like, oh, so that when I look at people's pricing, I'm looking at it from a strictly, are you profiting or are you actually paying your clients to shoot their wedding, to photograph their session? Because I want you to profit. You're a business. I want you to be successful. And I can't have you charging money and not being like, I can't have you, which also brings up the price, like pricing. If you charge a certain amount, you're able to do a certain amount of free work because you've already reached your threshold of needing what you need to survive. And then you can give back. You can do charity. You can do the free stuff, which is what I do. I love giving back when I can, but I still have to reach my minimum yearly bills.
Exactly. And I just think all of that is so looked down on. Like nobody talks about just doing something because you want to help someone. It's like everything is, how can we make more money?
Is that a United States problem?
I think that is. Yes, because I've also learned that I saw this picture the other day and I was like, this is definitely me, where it's like hobby girlies can't just be hobby girlies. They like take their hobbies and make them a side hustle,
monetize everything. But
like,
maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's just the fact that we grew up in the United States and capitalist society, and that's why we think we have to, the rat race, we have to harder, faster, more. No.
Yeah.
I don't. I unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe.
No, don't unsubscribe from the podcast. No, but like the narrative of you have to charge so much to be the coolest, bestest, amazingest. Nah, I don't subscribe to that anymore. I subscribe to paying my bills, making my kids happy, making me happy, making my husband happy. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No.
Well, okay. Can we also address the fact that we're saying this and like we are educators and like we are putting stuff out there, and Jamie and I aren't like, we're at a place right now where we started the podcast, and still right now in the podcast, we're doing this just to help you. Like, this is just fun for us. This is like, we love it. And because we're so passionate about helping, like we are able to help more by doing like the mom talk thing. And like, we can take less weddings so we can dive into something that we're so passionate about, which is helping you. So yes, like I just felt like I didn't want to have the cliche of like, everyone's out there trying to make money. And then we're like, join the mom talk mastermind. It's like that, but that's not what it is. It's so that we can like make it so personal and be there with you and be able to help you more in that way.
Well, and there's a difference between joining something where you're getting 5 minutes of the teacher's time because there's so many people in there with you versus what we want to do, which is keep it intimate, keep it personal, keep it as one-on-one as we physically can handle.
Yeah.
And
it's not like we're open and then the floodgates. It's like there are 10 spots.
Yeah.
You can get as many unlimited one-on-one calls as you need because we want to be there.
now we're plugging ourselves.
We are.
But the point was just we charge for education, but we're doing that. So if we're doing education, then we're not taking a wedding. Like
exactly.
We're give and take.
Literally for ramen noodles.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We should probably wrap up this pricing hot take.
I was just getting started.
I know you were. But if you guys have questions, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if you want to talk about this more, let us know. If you're a Spotify listener, leave us a comment. Like, I feel like
you can comment on Spotify.
Yes.
That's so fun.
But anyway, we want to hear your thoughts. Yeah, let's just talk pricing. Let's just be honest. Let's be transparent. What do you need to charge? That's the whole conversation that me and Alex, I feel like we always approach this as, is what do you actually need? Are you happy? And we can go from there. You are not less than because you're not charging $20K a wedding. And you're not more than because you are charging $20K a wedding.
Preach.
You are just you're yourself. You're charging what you need to charge. You're doing what you need to do. You're in your market. And that's what matters. I feel like we're comparing each other and tearing each other down when really we should just be like, I'm proud of you. You're happy. Your business is successful and you're charging what you need to charge. And whatever that number is, it doesn't really matter to me unless I'm hiring you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so many good things. So many good things.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. And if you do want to learn more about the Mom Talk Mastermind, you can always DM us.
Look who's plugging now.
I know. I'm plugging now for like 30 seconds. Okay. Bye.
Bye.